Sweet. Welcome.
All right, let me get out of my truck.
All right. We are on, and I have the Late Show, Stephen Colbert in the background. It's funny. He's drinking whiskey, talking to his dog, getting ready to promote his dog to the head of infectious diseases because Trump's apparently firing anybody who makes a stand about anything. So he's like, oh, well,
I brought some. I brought some bleach. Am I supposed to inject that into my anus? Is that what I heard?
boofing. It's the term is boofing.
Oh, I know what boofing is. I've never tried it. I've just heard that if you boof it, it's free.
Yeah, it's supposed to work really well, I guess. It's you don't have to worry about the taste of it.
It bypasses all of your bodily safeties, which sounds like a great idea.
Oh, Jesus. Well, okay, so
let's see if I can turn my camera around.
No, just spin it around, dude. No sweat.
I know, but this way I can see what I'm showing you. There it is. Okay, so I'm on the Black Rock Playa right now, right in the middle, about I'd say 4 miles out of Gerlach, which is about 8 miles from the center of where Burning Man usually is.
Wow.
So there's a whole lot of peace and quiet out here, a whole lot of social distancing, and a whole lot of driving around way too fast.
Wow. So you're in Nevada. Where is that relative to like Reno?
Okay, so you drive about 30 miles east of Reno on I-80 towards the little town of Fernley, and then you take 447 for about 77 miles to Gerlach, which is the town a few miles away from me.
Wow.
So it's not too far, but it's pretty deep. There's a whole lot of nothing going on around here.
Maybe you were a Bedouin in a past life, because you got that desert blood, don't you?
I love it out here. Just there's so much driving to do. Oop. That was my phone telling me to stay away from people. So appreciate that.
What does it do? It tells you social distance.
Right. It's like COVID-19 is still a thing. Stay away from people. Like, okay.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just people if I can be.
Because you love Death Valley too.
I love Death Valley. It's a little bit warm this time of year. Up until it's going to be too warm until about October.
How would you describe the sense, the visceral sense that you get from that kind of place?
A lot of people see the desert as empty and lifeless, which it is out here. There's, as you can see, there's a whole lot of nothing going on, but I kind of enjoy that. And I enjoy the fact that I can see 20 miles that way and another about 40 miles that way completely clearly.
Show us that view that you're talking about.
All right, hang on. Okay, so
wow.
Those mountains that you can see way over there are probably about 20 or 30 miles away. And then on the other side of me, you can see Black Rock. I mean, I can see Black Rock Point. I'm not sure how good the video is, but that's probably about 35 miles away.
So do you feel really close to the earth? Do you feel like grounded? Do you feel like you're locked in? Like, is there a feeling of connectedness?
Yeah, when you put it like that, yeah, I don't really think in those terms when I'm out here to myself. I just I kind of stop thinking, which is kind of why I like it here.
I get it.
Absolute silence, especially last night when I was texting you. The stars were insane, and it's like this deafening silence. When your ears start to ring because there's no sound.
I get it. Yeah, the nearest cell tower, like being somewhere where you're actually conscious of where the cell tower is unbelievably satisfying, because it means it doesn't take a lot of effort to get away from cellular signals. And I'm not, one given to wanting to wear a fucking tinfoil hat, but at the same time, I can't sleep in the bedroom without wearing earplugs. Sometimes when I'm hyperactive, because I can hear every fucking little gadget and gizmo buzzing, so I can imagine just being somewhere with no EMF interference is probably lets the organism just kind of spread out. Yeah. Just
so, I'm different when I sleep. So when I sleep, no matter what, no matter how quiet it is out there, I put these little headphones in that are built into a headband. It's like Bluetooth battery powered headphones, and I listen to podcasts or whatever, like super boring podcasts that put me to sleep.
Really? That's just on the regular?
On the regular. Even last night, like I downloaded some because I know that if it's completely silent, I just start thinking. The mind starts racing,
Sure.
and I start replaying my day, my week, my life, or whatever. Like start replaying conversations I've had.
Sure.
And then I stay up all night, and it's miserable.
Cannabis works well for that.
Yeah, totally. I've learned that.
Well, dude, that's dope. So we're planning. I've got my gear right there.
Yeah, I see it. You're going up to Shasta. You're going down to Shasta, huh?
We're gonna go climb Shasta, man. They are putting in restrictions. So jealous. Well, I mean, dude, I don't want to take credit before the deed is done. We got a lot of work to do, but the plan is like 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. Couple of good dudes, one of which may not be able to join because he doesn't have any of the gear. He's like literally going to have to borrow like ski boots. So we'll see how that works. But yeah,
what a great idea. I don't know about that one.
Yeah. Well,
but, I would say don't expect him to join. I mean, even if he's physically capable, you don't want to be responsible for something bad to happen up there on the mountain. And you know that better than I do.
Right. Well, I mean, they've closed above 10,000, so we can get up on the mountain. We can get up on the mountain.
You're not summiting.
Well, we're gonna try. That's the plan. But
okay.
It's just one of those things where because
what side are you climbing?
We're gonna do Avalanche Gulch. The real straightforward, most popular route. We've got our crampons and ice axes for
that's the one I've
Say again?
Lost you.
No, you didn't. I'm just waiting for you to talk. Oh, there you go.
You came back. You lost you. Oh, no. So, yeah, I was just going to say that's the one side that I know because I've hiked up Avalanche Gulch 3 times now in the summertime.
Right. Have you summited?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. So hats off to you. You know. I've only been as high as Helen Lake. Right.
Oh, so that's like 10,400 feet or so.
Right. So my understanding is that steep section just after Helen, when you're going up to Thumb Rock, right? When you're going to the looker's right of Red Banks is pretty steep. And then after that, you just go up what they call Misery Hill, and it's just another like 1,000 or 2,000, right? So we're gonna try to leave at 2 a.m.
Sure. Oh, sorry. I'm not so sure what Thumb Rock is, but yeah, I remember the Red Banks, one little chute that we'd climb up on the looker's right of the Red Banks. And then, Misery Hill, there's a bunch of stupid little switchbacks that make you hate yourself. And then you get to the top of that and you think you're almost there. There's like a 300-yard snowfield you have to cross, and then another big old hill to the summit you have to climb.
Right. Thumb Rock, when you're going to the right of the Red Banks and you go up that steep pitch, and the Red Banks are to your left, Thumb Rock is the like pinnacle rock to your right. That's like the top of Sergeant's Ridge, where Sergeant's Ridge meets Green Butte Ridge.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. That sounds about right.
You feel me? Because Cassaval Ridge and Green Butte Ridge define Avalanche Gulch, and then Sergeant's Ridge is over there, and Sergeant's Ridge and Green Butte Ridge define Old Ski Bowl.
Yep, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I've done Green Butte a bunch of times, but I haven't gone, and then I've gone to Helen Lake, which is higher than Green Butte in Avalanche Gulch. And I've really wanted to, my plan is to do Green Butte and then climb from Green Butte Ridge all the way up. But I need to just put in more time. But yeah, man, been getting the fitness up. So, I'll keep you posted. I'll let you know what's going on. I'm going to take some GoPro footage. I tried to get a GoPro Max. I can't find one. The 360 one.
Everyone's a hero now, huh?
Straight up, dude. But I was gonna start taking 360-degree video because of the ski down is gonna be super cool. But I can't find a GoPro Max. The Best Buy doesn't have one here. So I don't know. I'm gonna see if I can cop one on my way to Shasta, but it'll be a lucky find if we do.
Yeah,
but
normally you'd buy one on Amazon. It'd be there in 2 days, but that's not a thing these days, huh?
Well, this microphone got here fairly quick, believe it or not, from China. Do you notice the audio quality?
No, like it. No, but I also am on my phone speaker, so like I can't notice much of anything right now.
But it's not bad, right? Like there's not reverb or a lot of artifact. Like you don't hear background noise, huh?
I'm certainly hearing an echo in your room, but otherwise that's it. I can hear you loud and clear.
Huh.
I think that just might be the acoustics of your room. Right. You know, I can't even see. I can barely even see you. Like I feel like to get rid of that, you have to get one of those super fancy microphones that you put about a fist away from your mouth, you know?
Right. Being, like you're saying, like a good acoustic thing, like you know how they use those egg crates or the...
Maybe you have to put some foam around your room and make a sound booth, which, you know, I don't know if you want to soundproof your whole house.
I mean, from what I've tested, just this little dinky $50 deal, which is actually, I'm really impressed at the quality of it, has made a big difference. So I'm going to keep recording. And thank you for taking the time, dude. How's the knee?
The knee is great. You know, I can bend it. You know, that's my range of motion right now.
Look at you, man.
I'm walking around pretty normally.
Awesome.
Yeah, still doing PT twice a week, and once they let us go back to work, I will, which might be next week.
Ooh. You gonna be on light duty and keep it chill, or what?
Yeah. Like we're closed, so it's summer mode right now, which we can do at our own pace, especially me, because I'm kind of on my own with one other person on the electrical side of things. So I'll just, like, the one thing I'll have to be careful with is kneeling. Like there's no crouching, so I'll have to work my way around that, like bending down to get into electrical cabinets. Otherwise, I'll be pretty fine.
What do you think about those little camping chairs?
What little camping chairs?
I'm just saying in the abstract.
You mean like the ones you take, the ones you take backpacking, the little tripod, right?
Yes, sir. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Just to get around having to kneel.
I actually bought one of those last year because I was so sick of being on my knees for 6 hours. But yeah, I actually have one of those at work for sitting in front of electrical cabinets, because like all summer, half of what I do is literally sit there and tighten every single screw for every single wire for every single ski lift. And so, yeah, it's a lot of sitting in weird tight places.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking in terms of the rehab of the knee, having one of those could potentially be a lifesaver, huh?
Yes, certainly. And I bought one last year, and I'll be using that a lot.
Nice. Well, I'm impressed that you are moving around with the facility that you are. Do you have a big burly knee brace on that keeps you confident?
I don't, like, so I have the one that they gave me when I first did it, which has, you know, I have pants on, so I can't really show you, but it has just like a little hinge right there on your knee. Yeah. And then 2 big Velcro straps that you tighten up. It's a big step down from the burly one they gave me after surgery. That was like a robot leg.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad to be away from that, because like you couldn't sleep with that thing. It sucked.
Really? Was it uncomfortable or just totally restricted movement or what?
It was massive. Like you could barely sleep on your side. You kind of had to sleep on your back the whole time, which doesn't really work for me. So the new one, the new one, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry, but the new one only has a like metal hinge on the medial aspect, only on the inside. Is that right? Yeah. So can you see my knee right now?
Yeah, I can see the line of it.
So yeah, there's a little piece of metal, there's a hinge, and there's a piece of metal with 2 big Velcro straps right here.
That's interesting. So it doesn't have a similar mechanism on the lateral, on the outside. It only has that medial, which probably gets your leg.
It has the same thing on this side.
Oh, it does. Okay, on the inside and outside. Okay, so that's nice, man. right? Because it
Yeah,
doesn't let any kind of like weird lateral travel. So you're just right locked in, right?
yeah, it's super comfortable, and it gives me like what I can walk around normally without it. It just feels like there's something missing, which there is. There's muscle missing, so it just gives me a
Right.
little bit of extra support.
Fuck yeah, man. Well, you're doing the work now that they probably are telling you, aren't they? That, movement that at least is not stressing the healing is what you need to
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
right?
They've given me a bunch of exercises like heel lifts and little balance exercises, which I'm doing, and yeah,
Nice.
one day at a time.
So are you thinking that next winter season is game on?
Oh yeah, I maybe like take it easy in December, but come January I should be 100%.
Sick. Well, I'm excited, man. I'm getting more into the ski mountaineering world, and would love to go do a mountain with you, dude. Mount Rose, or anything in the backcountry in Tahoe, or McLaughlin,
Come
if
on
you want
down.
to come up here.
I'm pretty worthless in terms of travel time in the winter normally. So if we can meet somewhere in the middle, or you can come down here, I'm game.
Yeah, man, that'd be fun. Do you still have, or do you have a good backcountry setup?
I have a burly and extremely heavy backcountry setup, but I do have a full setup, but it weighs
You
like
got the
30 pounds
frame.
or something.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
frame
I have.
windings.
Yeah, I've got the Solomon Guardians on some pretty fat head Rev 105, so it comes out pretty heavy.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I mean,
But
well,
it works.
with Experticity, dude, there's good deals to be had.
Yep. Once I pay off all my medical debt, then it's game on.
Don't say that. Are you serious? Do you have? Are you?
No,
Is some of?
it's really not so bad. It's going to end up being about $5,000 out of pocket for this leg, which is
Fuck, man.
more than I can afford. It's my annual maximum with my insurance, so like it's going to cost more. But
It's your deductible.
well, my deductible is 1,500, and that's when after that they start doing the 70% coverage, and then once you're $5,500 out of pocket, then everything else is covered for the rest of the year.
I see. I see.
Um,
So the
but
way that I'm sorry.
oh, that's okay. Luckily, Vail Resorts has this grant program, kind of an emergency grant program for employees, and if everything goes right, they should cover most or all of that for me.
Yeah, man, that's only right. Are you claiming workman's comp? Did it happen at work?
No, it was off the clock. If it was workman's comp, it'd be a totally different story.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay anything out of pocket, but it was on my
You know
day
what?
off, and
You know what the problem there is?
what's that?
You have integrity.
Oh,
You're a good human, so the piece of shit companies can categorize you in a favorable way for them. I was going to say, the way that the insurance companies structure the damn medical situation, they incentivize a person to just get all of their fucking injuries out of the way in 1 year, right?
Yeah, right.
Might as well. Like,
Might as
how
well.
silly. Dude, my uncle, I probably shouldn't say this on recording, but put it this way. There are people that take advantage of the fucking workman's comp situation, and those people.
Oh, I know. There are a couple people being like, "Why did you tell us? Like, you could have fallen down the stairs on Monday at work." It's like, nah, dude.
Yeah, and you're like,
I'm not really into fraud.
Yeah, I feel you, man. It's weird how there's a sensibility amongst, for the most part, I would argue, ideologues, right? Or what's the word? Fundamentalists, right? Somebody who believes in something so incredibly deeply that it forgoes any logical attempt at dissuasion, of how the ends justify the means, right? It's like, do anything just to get the fucking, um, what desired outcome, and it's
to
like
get the payout.
Yeah, and it's like, what? Like, where did the argument of just like be a good human go? Like, isn't that super ordinate to like getting what we want? You know what I mean?
I see both sides of the argument. Like, yeah, I try to, no matter what, do the right thing. But I also see the side of people who have felt like the world has done wrong to them, and so why should they? I wouldn't agree with it, but I understand. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel you. That's a thing that I've tried to come to terms with and argue effectively against inside of myself, and that is the willingness to accept a victim narrative, which then justifies malevolence. And I think that's a real dangerous path to take. Like,
I think it's exhausting.
Yeah, man. I think a better narrative is that everybody's a victim. Like, we all have to take shit, like, regardless of whether or not you're aware of what the other person has been through. Like, it's fair to assume that they've been through some shit. And I think if we all just accept that, like, everybody's oppressed and everybody's, like, up against it, then being a good person is the move. You know?
And it's also it also becomes very easy to get used to good things happening to you. So it's important to not get complacent with the positive parts of your life.
Right.
You know, I'm around a lot of people who are like, I feel like I'm extremely lucky to be where I am right now. And I have to remind myself of that, because I'll get upset over the stupidest little shit. Like, I don't even know. Like, I dropped a glass and broke it. Oh my fucking God. Now I have to clean this up. What the hell? It's like, all right, if that's your biggest problem of the day, I'd call that a win.
Right. Like, recalibrating our, like, fight or flight system. It's like, this is not a threat to my life. Like, I don't need to react with, like, all of my systems, you know? Yeah, I get it, man. The thing that keeps me grounded is pushing myself physically. Like, Isabella's starting to take up the mantle, which is super cool. She just did a cold plunge this morning in the cold bath, and, like, basically had a freak out, but, like, she got through it, and that was awesome. But, like, dude, like, that's the mechanism for me by which I can put myself in those, like, heightened states of anxiety and, like, deal with it, you know? And that helps me, man, because otherwise I'd be so manic that I would potentially end up in a damn psych ward or something. And, like, having exercise in the outdoors allows me to process that stuff, you know?
I'd say the simpler way to put all this is, don't be spoiled. Don't get spoiled. Don't be spoiled.
Right. I'll buy that. But it takes effort, huh? Like, to gain that perspective. Yeah.
I think it really depends on the experiences you've had. You know, like, if you have in the back of your head some fucked up shit from your childhood, it's a lot easier not to get spoiled.
Right.
You know, because, you know, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe it's PTSD. You know, maybe you still have a little bit of PTSD in the back of your head. Like, well, at least it's not that. Well,
and that kind of thing, which, you know, I've heard many people that I look up to state is a prerequisite for greatness. Right? Like, the people that have the fucked up childhoods are often statistically much more in the camp of being people that do great things, as opposed to people that have relatively sheltered childhoods where maybe they don't push themselves so hard, you know? Like,
well, yeah.
You feel me?
You can compare our current president with our last president.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me started on politics, because I won't shut up. But, like, the point that I think is interesting is, like, where you're saying, you know, having trauma, let's say, in the back of one's mind always, let's say, gives a person perspective on, like, what, you know, on how bad it can get, right? Because I think the thing that I have a hard time respecting when I'm around, like, whiners is, like, you guys, it can always be worse. It can always be worse, right? So, like, just that simple knowledge allows a person to see what's good in a situation, you know? And, like, the thing I'm trying to speak to is... I'm sorry?
Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry, thought you were done.
I was just going to say, while though, like childhood trauma, or let's just say, like, difficulty from one's past offers perspective on the present, I think it's also something to have to be, like, negotiated with and reasoned with, so that thing that can be fuel for the motivated, right? Like if I mean, I'm just speaking for myself, like things that I've been through as a child, I can use as fuel, but I also have to like keep it in check. I also have to like not allow that to be my only fuel. Like I still have to recognize that, like, I don't know how to put it into words. Like I think that people
I understand what you're saying.
You feel me?
So it's like, what you're saying is, at least I think, your past experiences are a good thing to build upon, but it's not something to lean upon.
Yeah, that's well said. Like if I stay in the past.
Don't always fall back on, I did some fucked up shit before, so I've learned all the lessons I have to learn. No, that's not true at all.
Right. Or the way that I was treated as a child defines me, which is just not true. The way that I was treated as a child is something that can inform me, but it's something that I can use to achieve goals that I might otherwise not. Like, I don't know, man, like it's all about context and I think ongoing exploratory behavior. Like that next adventure seems to be always the motivation, as opposed to like having a stagnant personal history. Like having a dynamic personal story. I was just talking to Jordan D. Marcia on the channel last time, and he's a brand coach. So he like helps people get their businesses going on like Facebook and stuff. And he had a heart transplant at 4 years old. And I'm just like, I have no concept of what it's like to have a heart transplant, right? But we got
at
deep
4?
At 4 years old. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I can't imagine he remembered much of that.
Well, I imagine that he was in the hospital for much of his young life, and that had a massive, effect on him as a person. And what we ended up talking about, which is to the point that we're discussing, is a person's personal narrative is extremely important, right? Like what we tell ourselves about ourselves is something that I don't think we often examine enough. And I have gotten a lot of value from doing so, man.
I'm trying to think of analogies because I'm more of an analogy guy. You put it all out on the table and like you like go deep into your head. I like to simplify things and come up with like, well, it's kind of like this.
Well, how about a person that
I can't.
How about a person that recognizes the star of their own story is better equipped to win the day than a person concerned with what part they're playing in somebody else's story? You buy that?
I'm thinking more like, shoot, I got to think for a minute. Okay, so I'll bring it into something that makes more sense to me. Like, I DJ house music and everything, and I've been doing that for a few years. And I have music from several years ago that was really, really good. But like, I can't just rely on that music. I always have to get new music. I have to throw the old music away. I can't rely on those past tracks, but I can bring a couple of the best ones out and throw it into the new stuff because it's always evolving. People get tired of you if you keep on playing the same shit over and over again. But if you keep on exploring, keep on finding new stuff, keep on finding new experiences, and mix it in with the best of the old stuff, then you're kind of fresh, but you're also staying true. If that makes sense.
That makes good sense. Like, it's ongoing exploratory behavior that constitutes heroism. There is no one act in and of itself that constitutes the hero. It's being willing to continue the path. And so if your path is constructing tracks, then there's no end. That's your process. That's your journey.
Well,
right?
That's what makes a good performer, is the ability to to keep your style. Don't sell out to, you know, to whatever's going on right now, but keep evolving while keeping your old style.
Right. Right. Yeah, I like that. I think about it in terms of skiing. Like, I want to keep skiing, but I'm learning more about the places that I'm in, and like myself as an athlete, and like what my limits are and what my capabilities are, and like what makes me happy, and like how my feelings factor in. And like I think the thing that's so encouraging is like seeing what comes of the creative process, and also finding others on their own path of creativity and exploration. Like, I think once you become an artist in your own chosen endeavor, and I think artist can be a really wide ranging term, right? Like, I think you can be an artist with a fucking budget, you know, like you can be an artist with anything, right? Like it's an abstraction of using your creative capacity to make something happen. You know, you're an artist with electronic music. Like, I think once you recognize that process and the benefit of it, going hard, like magic starts to happen. You know, like people will come to you, people will benefit from what you create, and then like you'll find other artists that you can vibe with, right? Like, there's something weird that happens, man, huh?
There is. I got really deep into that. As you know, I got a little bit too deep into it while forgetting other parts of my life that were important. So I had to take a step back. But those relationships that I formed are still there.
Yeah. What Eric Rude and I talked about. I think you've met Rude, haven't you met Rude? Snowboarder, so. My homie. He knows you, I think.
This is a playa cookie. That's just a piece of hardened dirt that came right off the ground. It's a playa cookie.
Whoa. What we were talking about at length in terms of what we're saying now is a real value, and something that I don't possess as much as I'd like, that I'm working on, that I think you're speaking to, is while the application of the deepest self, like the creative self, is one of the highest ideals, I think the virtue to take into that process that one forgets at their own peril is balance. And Eric talked about it, and it really resonated with me, and I think it speaks to what you just said, and that is like, you know, he's a father, he's got 2 kids, he's a school teacher, he like just sent me a post on Instagram, so he's on the wavelength right now. You know, he's just as gung-ho as I am, or anybody, about riding and pushing himself and getting into the outdoors and exploring nature and so forth. Like, he's a homie, you know, but he also he recognizes, and I think it's to his credit, the importance of him staying balanced. And I mean that in every sense of the word. Like, he you know, is a good dad, and he, like, you know, we've been on many bike rides where he's like felt like he was out for too long and freaking out and having to call his chick and be like, I'm so sorry, I'm not going to be there for the feeding, you know, and whatever. Like, I think balance is really important, huh?
Well, yeah, that's a tough one, you know. Yeah. I'm also around too many people who are almost a prisoner to that. So yeah, as you said, balance. You know, you have to take care of your family, but also don't let your family imprison you, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Balance is not a stationary process, right? Like, you have to be balanced in movement, huh? Like balance is a function that keeps somebody. You know what I mean?
I'll never tell someone with kids how to do that, because I don't plan on it. I don't have kids. It's a completely different world. So, you know, I'm in a spot where if I go out on a bike ride or whatever, all I have to do is send a text, I'm going to be home late, things are good. But I don't have the extra responsibility. So I'm not in a place to judge how other people do that, if that makes sense.
Right. I just think that we can learn from people with responsibilities that we don't have, right? Like, how do they manage that? And to hear balance being such an important tenet is important for me, let's say, because I don't have trouble going like 0 to 100. That comes naturally for me, you know, which I think some people struggle with, you know, if they're at like a CrossFit class or something. Like that's never been an issue. The issue for me is not overdoing it or keeping in mind all of my responsibilities while I'm, you know, chasing the dragon, so to speak. And I just think that bears repeating. I think it's important, right? It's like always respecting I can all of the agreements that you've made, you know?
Right. So yeah, I think I'm more on your level where once I get into something, I get really into it and can sometimes run the risk of things that I've already put a commitment to.
Right. Which would constitute a lack of balance. Yeah, I feel you.
On the one hand, you live in the moment. On the other hand, don't forget about the rest of your life.
Right. I've seen the quote, dream as if you'll live forever, live as if you'll die today. Like, okay. Don't stop planning, don't stop dreaming, yeah, but like get after it, huh? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're never finished. You know, once you've achieved everything, what else is there? That's where depression comes from.
Right. I heard that there is a Chinese curse, and I would never say it directly to you, but it doesn't make sense because it's something that in the West we talk about as if it's a goal, but it's like may you know, the person is trying to curse achieve all of their dreams. May all of their dreams come true. And it's like, whoa, that's weird. And it's to your point. It's like, if everything gets achieved, then there's no more exploratory behavior. And the joy of the hero is like not knowing what's coming next, right? Like that's what it is. That's what's fun. That's what's exciting. Yeah.
That's like a sneaky way of ruining someone's life. You know, let all of your dreams come true so you have nothing left.
Isn't that weird?
That's really weird.
like it implies that the act of dreaming is a virtue. And I think that that's something that we don't talk about enough. You know? I mean, just speaking for myself.
Yep.
Like
no, that makes sense.
Like, you know? I think we focus too much on, look at that. We focus too much on results, and focusing on the process is really important, you know? Like the thing that gives me confidence is looking to those that are better and further on the path than I am, whether it's, you know, in athletics or, you know, professional life or what have you, and seeing that they're just grinding, you know, they're just iterating on a theme. They're just getting up every day and doing the work, you know, like as opposed to having just won the lottery, having some kind of finite success. It's that they keep doing the thing.
That's why the majority of lottery winners end up losing all their money and their lives end up ruined and everything. You know, like humans aren't really wired to be completely okay for the rest of their life.
Yeah, that's a good example, right? It's like once the struggle's over, it's like we invent another struggle, right? It's like, fuck it, spend it all on hookers and blow. I want to go back to work. Right, exactly. You know, like what?
I'm gonna go destroy myself and then create some new chaos or something because, you know, I'm bored.
Yeah, that's the like Matrix thing, right? It's like they created a perfect world and everybody kept trying to wake up from it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You know, it's weird. Like I don't know that I've found that part of my psyche. I don't know that I've faced that part of myself that like wants conflict.
It's so counterintuitive because, you know, biologically we're just supposed to be okay and technically reproduce, but whatever. We're just supposed to be okay and survive. And once that happens, we destroy ourselves.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, we're too smart to be okay.
Yeah, because we live in this extra dimension, don't we? We plan and we worry and we have anxiety about the future, which is inherently something that's not here. And yet we live there to a certain degree, right? And in the past, obviously. It's like, what the fuck is that?
You know, it's frustrating. You look at yourself, you're like, I'm not going to be like that. But, you know, you don't know that. Because, I've never won the lottery.
Well, I guess my question is, what is it that takes us out of the present? If you had to conceptualize it and articulate it, what is the faculty in the human psyche that pulls us out of the present moment into the past or present or future?
Oh, I don't know.
Like,
you know, the one thing that comes to mind is one of the quotes from one of the first astronauts. I can't remember who it was, but basically he said, once you see the whole planet at once, you forget about every little stupid problem you've ever had, ever.
Yeah, perspective, huh? Having the right perspective stops the neuroticism, huh? I'll buy that.
Or, you know, even you know, coming out where I am right now, you know, there's no news out here. There's no coronavirus. I mean, you know, there is, but you know, there's no noise out here.
I get it.
But you know, I have to go home in a few days, so you know, it's not like I can just live out here forever. So we're just coming out here to clear our minds and feel good for a few days, and then go back, and hopefully we'll hold on to that.
I dig it. It's like you're re-grounding. You're retuning the tuning fork. You know, you're getting onto the right frequency.
If you use computers, it's a hard reset.
Right. Clearing the cache. I dig it, man. I try to do the same thing. They have words for it in other cultures. Like in Japanese, they have a word for it. There's like forest therapy and other things. And there's a lot to be said for that, man. Like you're connecting with a signal that the noise of human society drowns out a lot of times. And that is the signal of the earth, man. You're standing on the earth. And like,
well, and everyone does that in different ways. You know, some people go to the woods and do that, and that's fine. You know, I like to be out here because I can see for miles and miles and miles. And, you know, that everyone does it in their own way. Some people go to the beach and do that. Like I've never been a huge fan of the beach just because I've lived so close to it my whole life. So it's not, you know, it was always there, if that makes sense.
I never got you out surfing, did I?
No, you didn't. I was too busy skiing and mountain biking.
Well, fucking A, dude. Maybe one of these days. But
one of these days.
let's get a mountain bike together too, man. Are you still thinking mountain biking?
I love mountain biking. You know, I have a full suspension, not that fancy, but I can go have some fun.
Fuck yeah! We did a 15-miler yesterday. Me and Caleb that I met in Mount Shasta.
Up and down, or did you do a shuttle?
It wasn't a lot of vert. It was just off a Cascade Mountain Highway. It was on a trail system that I've never been to, but Caleb's more plugged into the mountain biking community than I am. So he took me
just kind of one of the flowy up and downs.
Yeah, it was cruisy. It wasn't a lot of vert, and just a nice workout. But like, I'm starting to get into that method or mode of more mileage. Like my body likes to fucking churn out 10 miles a day on my bike, which is really encouraging because it's just gotten more and more. And a lot of that is not smoking. So I don't have phlegm or mucus in my lungs. And I just use tincture when I want to get high. And yeah, man, I'm all about it. So get your friggin' knee strong, dude. Let's go have some mountain biking adventures. That'd be super cool.
So they cleared me to ride. I'm riding my bike around the neighborhood right now, which they cleared me to a couple of weeks ago. So I'm on my way.
How's your mental? How has it been having to be pretty sedentary? It's weird how well it coincided with the quarantines and stuff, right?
Yeah, I'd say I shouldn't be an example just because I'd had my surgery 2 weeks before everything came to a head. So I've been fine just because everyone else is suffering, and I have enough things to do that only require me walking around, which I can do right now, and I can stay happy just walking around.
That's awesome. So are you feeling that it's going to be 100% when it's 100%? Like, is the reconstruction that the doctors did definite? Like if that's the right word?
You know, you can never tell unless you have an eyeball right there in there, but I feel pretty good about what my surgeon did.
Nice. Nice.
So I learned that my surgeon came from the Stedman Clinic, which is in Vail, Colorado, which is one of the best sports medicine clinics in the world. And he's new to our area within the past 6 months.
Awesome.
So as far as I can tell, he did a great job because my pain has been fine.
Yeah. How far out from the surgery are you?
About, what was it, February 28th. So what, 9-10 weeks?
That's nothing, man. And you're already up and at 'em. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
How does it, like, can you feel the healing? Like, I know from injuries that I've had, I can tell from the inflammation and the warmth, and like, I just can tell when the body is sending new tissue and stuff. Like, can you feel that in the knee joint?
You know, I'm not sure. Like the one thing that I really can feel is when I'm doing this without my brace on, I can feel something strange going on, like almost like there's a lack of muscle in there, which there is. So like just doing that feels weird when it's unsupported.
But I mean, you're growing tissue for sure, right? You eating a lot? You eating right?
Yeah, I'm eating okay.
Okay, not drinking too much, I hope.
You know, I did for a couple weeks there during quarantine. That was my activity for a little while there.
Not smoking, I hope. That's the thing that you got to stay away from when you're laying down new tissue. And Lord knows I was smoking pot like a chimney when I hurt my back, and that didn't do me any favors. I realized that.
The most I do is 3 or 4 puffs, you know, in a night.
They say that smoking is it restricts the blood flow to new tissue because it's a vasoconstrictor, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
You know, and you want to get that blood flow.
I'm a pretty light smoker.
Right. Have you been doing cold and hot at all?
I've been icing after PT, and that's all.
I would contend that if you tried to do a cold hot cycle, like do a ice and then do like a hot bath and then do a ice again and then do like a warm shower, like the more you can cycle, the more you're going to get those vessels, the endocrine system, the adrenal system, your musculature, all your soft tissue that's repairing itself to just like cycle through. And that's really healthy and from what I reckon.
Okay, that's good. I'll check it out. Maybe if you find any articles or anything that can guide me through that, you know, send them over.
Yeah, I'm happy to. I will. You know, Wim Hof is a big proponent of cold, but he talks about hot also. But there's definitely good research to it. I mean, I'm an anecdote. I could tell you how great it works for me. But yeah, no, there's a lot of science out there on both how cold immersion and then coupled with heat like sauna or hot bath or even electrical stimulation, like with those TENS units, improves your immunity, improves healing time. It's really good for you, man. You know, because like I'll get muscle tightness, right? And then that just locks in all of the fluid, you know. But if you do a cold bath and then it flushes, you know, and then if you do a warm immersion, it'll flow everything too because it'll vasodilate. So yeah, I mean for sure that there's good science there. Oh no, I lost you.
I just lost cell service for a while.
All right, and we are back. Well, bro, I don't want to take too much of your time. I know you're there with good company, so I just want to say thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing a little bit of desert wilderness with me.
Anytime, bro. Anytime. All it takes is a text or a call, and I'll be there.
Cool, man. Be safe tomorrow on Shasta, okay? Send some photos.
I will. I'm going to get some video if I can. Hopefully document the situation. I got like an extra little brick charger, you know, one of these deals. So hopefully I can keep the electronics running enough to document the situation. And we'll do our best to get a good mission up there and put it up for you. And same to you, man. And enjoy your time out on the playa. And let's circle back soon.
All right. Talk to you later, bud.
Much love. Later, man.
Cheers.